Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Shout out to the Art of Dialogue. He has a pretty good interview here that he's doing with a former NBA player, former New York Knicks, Charles Oakley, right? And Oakley's been talking about a lot of things. Obviously, everybody knows who Charles Oakley is, former Knick, tough guy, and all of this. But during this sit down, from the clips that I've seen, Oakley looked like he'd been whooping everybody's ass, man. Now, I did hear one clip from his show where he was talking about a situation that he had with Isaiah Thomas. Now, that particular clip confused me. Why am I saying this? Because Oakley, from the reputation that he has, he'd be putting them paws on people. But in this particular clip, it sounded like Isaiah Thomas ran down on him and was trying to put his goon down on him. And Isaiah Thomas ran up on him at an airport, and he was not chasing him, but following him around the airport. I'm like, yo, if you about to, but Isaiah Thomas from Chicago. And he wanted all the smoke. So Oakley's doing X, Y, and Z to everybody else. And I'm like, why you ain't do it to Isaiah Thomas? Like, he was right there. And we all know Isaiah Thomas. Well, if you know, you know. So anyway, they were talking to him about a bunch of things. And they brought up Stephen A. Smith, right? As you guys know, Oakley likes LeBron James a lot. And Stephen A. Smith has had his issues with LeBron James that we all know about. He's made it public. So during this clip, they brought up the part where they were talking about Stephen A. Smith. And apparently, Charles Oakley had an issue with Stephen A. Smith. And he talked about he looking for him. He looking for him, that he should be on the lookout for next time he sees him. I'm like, what? So for those of y'all to hear what Charles Oakley had to say, want to play for you now. I'm going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Charles Oakley had to say here.
How is your relationship with Stephen A. right now? I know at one point you was mad, right, that he didn't defend you against the Knicks owner.
He danced around it. But he hollered about this and that. They know this man's a bad man, but they can't go 100% out about him. It's just how the world go around. When came up with my book, I got some straw to pick with him because he knew my book came out and he didn't invite me on the show to promote my book. I think that was a smack in the face because we both went to a historic black college, and his book came out, but I'm saying he got a platform. He could have I've been on the show before. Come promote your book and we'll talk about the game and talk about the Knicks. He didn't do none of that. So when I see him, I'm gonna have some words for him, and then he could have had his crew to go down to Virginia Union, homecoming. He haven't done that yet. So I got a lot of little things to pick with him, and I'm gonna let him know when I see him. I think that I had a lot of guys: Reggie Miller, Brad Daugherty, LeBron, Chris Paul. Chris Paul, all them guys who saw that. Doc Rivers, he was coaching. A lot of guys spoke up, but just no one I played with over 100 some guys in my 10 years in New York. No one spoke up.
So you heard what Charles Oakley had to say. What are my thoughts about this? You heard the story. Stephen A. Smith didn't plug his book and he wanted him to come on the show and interview him about it. He also brought up the situation with the Knicks and James Dolan. You guys remember that scene. I think the next day on ESPN First Take, they even brought up Spike Lee. And was it somebody else? No, I don't remember. But Spike Lee was also brought up there for some issues he had with Dolan at the Garden. But that was a really big thing. Y'all remember. If you remember, you remember. But then he said how Stephen A. Smith didn't speak up for him. And then Oakley had a book and he would have, I think, wanted Stephen A. Smith wanted to go on, I guess, First Take to talk about the book and all of that stuff. So he had an issue with him and he said he's looking for him too. What are my thoughts about this? Well, every time I've seen Stephen A. Smith, and I've never seen him in person, but every time I've seen Stephen A. Smith don't just be walking around by himself. Stephen A. Smith has security, and I think that's a wise thing to do. I wouldn't suggest having security if you, like, Stephen A. Smith is $100 million guy, right? So I wouldn't suggest or recommend you having security if you're worth that kind of money if no one knows you. If no one knows you and you're just a guy that's making a lot of money or has made a lot of money and you don't bring attention to yourself, maybe you don't dress loud, you don't wear jewelry, you're not a flamboyant person, I don't see any reason for you to have security because nobody knows you, right? No one knows who you are and you don't stick out like a sore thumb. But in the case of Stephen A. Smith, given the fact that, I don't really see Stephen A. Smith rocking jewelry. Like, I don't see him being as a loud guy or whatever. I'm talking about the way he dresses, but he is known. He's a known person and he's quite famous. So, and you got some crazy people out here who don't agree with some of his sports takes and all of that. So it makes sense for him to have security. In terms of him wanting to see Stephen A. Smith is a slick talker too. Right? Stephen A. Smith can talk his way into and out of things as well. So I don't see a situation where Charles Oakley will see Stephen A. Smith and put his hands on him or like that's not going to happen. I don't see that happening at all. But based on what Oakley said, and he's not happy about it, and based off everything that I've heard about him, it seems like when Charles Oakley finally catches up with Stephen A. Smith, he's going to give him a piece of his mind. And he gonna let him know, like, yo, bro, I don't like the fact that you did this and did that and did this. Now, what will be interesting is if Stephen A. Smith does a show reacting to this. Because y'all know Stephen A. Smith gonna react to everything, right? Stephen A. Smith be sitting back waiting for people to diss him just so he can respond to them. Like, Stephen A. Smith be on that time, bro. He be on that type of time. So I'm wondering, is Stephen A. Smith going to hear what Charles Oakley said here and decide to say, you know what, I'm going to respond to you and be like, oh, I ain't hard. You know how Stephen A. Smith be doing. I ain't hard to find, man. If you want to meet me, just call me, man. Let me know where you at. And I'm curious if Stephen A. Smith is going to go at Charles Oakley with that energy. I'm very curious. Now, I don't think he will. And even if he does, I think he's going to do it in kind of like a joking kind of way. Not like he's serious, like, I'm looking, wherever you at, I'm going to be. Nah, I think even if he does that, I think it's going to be like in a joking way because I don't think Stephen A. Smith wants no physical altercation with Charles Oakley. And these guys are in their 50s. So, I mean, I don't know why 50-year-old men will be looking to throw hands with one another. But, hey, it does happen. So, as you guys know, we've been producing a lot of content surrounding Bronny James. And Bronny hasn't really been good this season, right? As a matter of fact, if you look at his numbers last year with the biggest sample size of more games played, he played better. And the crazy part is that the Lakers have actually doubled his minutes per game to somewhere up to about 13 minutes. Last year he was averaging about 6.7 minutes per game. Now he's up to 13.1 or so minutes per game. So the Lakers, JJ Redick and these guys are actually giving him some time to go out there and actually try to improve. Now, the other game he has 6 assists. But it's safe to say that Bronny is not a rotational player. Something we've all made abundantly clear, especially me here on this channel. I know others have as well. And I said that, look, given the fact that I'm going to be covering the Lakers this season, I made it crystal clear. If the goal is to win, we can't abide by the nonsense and the tomfoolery. If the goal is about winning, I don't want to be connected to all of this foolishness where Bronny will get a lob dunk and it becomes headline news. No. I don't want to hear about all this. But that's why I was stunned when JJ said this summer that they see him playing a significant role on the Lakers. I'm like, what are you talking about? A significant role? Like, this is absolute madness. Well, one of the clutch guys, Nick Wright, apparently has been following this story as well. And he seems to be absolutely fed up of some of the things that people have been saying about Bronny James because they feel like they've been picking on him unfairly. So I then tuned into a clip to hear what he had to say yesterday. So as he's talking about that, he then decides to say something that absolutely floored me. Nick Wright, with a straight face, tried to suggest that Bronny James played his way onto the Lakers roster, and I lost it. So for those of you who didn't hear what Nick had to say, I want to play for you now, and I'm going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Nick right here.
Here's the deal. And this is a little about Bronny, and this is more about media criticism. But a little less than a year ago, we were in full-blown Bronny James meltdown in the media about the scourges of nepotism and LeBron forcing the Lakers into such a mistake and pleading with LeBron as a father to stop this farce, and folks claiming that their heart just goes out to the other potential draftees who got snubbed because the Lakers wasted the 55th pick on Bronny. And now, the last two games, the Lakers, who are super shorthanded, Sunday night, were in a tight game with Miami, played Bronny in crunch time. He played really good defense, had one awesome driving kick for a critical three, and they won. 18 minutes. Solid, end of the bench performance. And then yesterday, in a game where LeBron was out, Luka was out, and Austin Reeves was out, they called on Bronny again against the Blazers when the Blazers were double-digit favorites. And Bronny played 19 minutes, had 6 assists, had no turnovers, and the Lakers won again. Now, do I think Bronny is a great player? Obviously not. Do I think Bronny is even going to be a rotation guy this year for the Lakers when they're healthy? No. Do I think if we are going to be fair and we are going to look at this objectively, we should say, hey, how does his production up to this point in the season compare to the other guys drafted in the second half of the first round? I think that's fair. So if you go picks 45 through, I think there were only 58 in that draft, oddly, instead of 60. And you're like, oh, so of those 14 guys, 7 of them are not on an NBA roster. So, he certainly is providing more value than those 7. Of those 14 guys, only Quentin Post, Jamal Shead, and Cam Spencer have played more minutes. Okay. Of those 14 guys, only Jamal Shead and Cam Spencer have more assists. Of those 14 guys, only Cam Spencer has more steals. Now Bronny is field goal percentage like 20%. He hasn't shot much, but I think he's, I think he's 2 for 11 on the season. So obviously he's not shooting the ball well. He's not shooting the ball much. But you look at that draft and all the crying that was done. Pick 47 has not played, is not on a roster. Pick 48 has played 11 minutes. Pick 49, pick 50, pick 51 has not played or on G League teams. Pick 52, Quentin Post, has actually been solid for the Warriors. And pick 53, Cam Spencer's been solid for the Grizzlies. Pick 54, not on a roster. Pick 55, Bronny. Pick 56, pick 57, G League, or not on a roster. And pick 58, Huck Porty, apologies, has played 40 minutes for the Knicks and has been given, slightly less production than Bronny, right in line with it. Whole point is, Bronny James has been a slightly above average late second round pick. That's what he's been as a pro. A slightly above average late second round pick. That's it. And the folks that used him as a cudgel because they hate LeBron should be embarrassed.
So you heard what Nick Wright had to say. Nick Wright cannot be serious. He cannot even be. The examples that he brought up of all of the other guys, all of the various picks that are performing the way that they're performing or whatever it is, the fundamental difference between them and Bronny is that none of them have a father named LeBron James. None of them. So if you actually don't play well, you could be gone. You could be off the roster. That's the fundamental difference. None of those guys' last name is James Jr. So to suggest that, oh, Bronny's just doing this all on his own, all on his own steam is laughable. And it's a clownish thing to say. Using the example of all of these other guys and then saying, well, look, Bronny, no. Those guys could be averaging 0.1 points per game, but if their father's LeBron James, they're going to be on the roster. And to act like that's not a motive or driving factor for this situation with the Lakers, no one should take you seriously. This is the problem with the Nick Wrights. They say this stuff with a straight face. Maybe because Nick Wright, maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to grow a beard or something. Maybe I need to grow a beard or something like that, get a perm, comb my hair back so I can look like Nick Wright. So when I say this stuff, maybe people will take me seriously. You cannot even be serious. The number one reason Bronny is on the Lakers is because of his father. The number one reason he's getting minutes is because of his father. Period, end of story. The number one reason that gets plastered all over the internet if he has an assist or if he has a dunk or whatever it is because of his father. That is it. So using the example of these other guys, like, they're not playing so well, so look what's happening. It's like as if that applies to Bronny. Like, knock it off. Like, just not, like, enough with the foolishness. The reason Bronny is on the roster is because of his dad. Don't omit that fact. Don't omit that. Because it's very important. Why else would the Lakers draft a player like that and still keep him to this level? And then allow him to make the roster? Like, what are we talking about here? Just give the full picture. Give the full picture. To just, just him and he's just doing it off when he played as well. And they're like, come on, knock it off, man. Just when you thought you had heard it all and seen it all, John Salley strikes. Last night we did a live reacting to some comments that John Salley made. Among some of the things that he said on this podcast that he was on, he said that at 40 years old, LeBron James is the best player in the world. He said at 41 years old, LeBron is still the best player in the world. So according to him, LeBron is better than Luka. LeBron is better than Giannis. Like, oh my God. LeBron is better than SGA. LeBron is better than it's like, I don't know what to say. So he said that. But just when you thought that John Salley couldn't do it to you, he did it again. They then asked him to name the top 5 Lakers of all time. And would you believe John Salley put LeBron James in the top 5 over Shaq? For those of y'all who didn't hear what John Salley had to say, I want to play it for you now. And we're going to continue on the show. Take a listen to John Salley here.
Who are the top 5 Lakers since you were a Laker?
Top 5 Lakers? Well, it's so funny, man. I talked to Coop the other day, Michael Cooper. He said, Sally's a substitute Laker.
You got a championship. You got to leave you alone.
I know. I said, come on, Coop. I wore the purple and gold. I'm going to go Magic, Kareem, Jerry West, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James.
Okay.
You think LeBron James is already a Laker legend?
Oh, no question. He's a legend no matter where he goes.
Yeah.
He's a legend no matter where he goes.
5 years?
No, he's been there like 8 years.
8 years? Okay, yeah. He's a legend.
Right, and the Lakers only win every 10 years. They only win a championship every 10 years.
So that
10,
bubble
11 years.
championship counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Played against NBA
you get a
players.
ring and a trophy for it.
Play against
You know how hard it was to play in a bubble?
I would assume. Hey, LeBron is my favorite player. I just have to ask the questions.
Oh, okay. The number one selling jersey is Luka now. But LeBron's jersey for the past 20 years has been in the top 5. So I keep telling you, I told y'all this before, don't just look at what you see on the court. It's the stuff off of the court. He goes, he's the connection to China. He's a great representation of NBA. He's a great representation of health and wellness. He's a great representation of a great dad, of a husband, right? You can hear rumors, but you can hear it all you want. They look cool doing their handshake when I see them.
Right.
I saw his wife at Art Basel last year, introduced her to my wife and kids. She was like, I said, yeah, they're going crazy on your man. He was like, he's used to it. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I sit around and see he has all of that to work on. At 40 years old, what is he, about to be 41 or 42? Yeah. No one's better than him.
That's true. Absolutely.
And I'm watching, look, to sit in this chair right now, I had to make sure the floor was even. I don't want to twist my ankle on a pencil over here. Imagine running and jumping and dunking. And I'm reading stuff. Well, he got to be able to fit in now. We have a whole new, whoever's saying this should shut up. Because LeBron is the common denominator. Everybody else needed to play together to get better. So when he steps in, they know how to play with the best player. And his load management is becoming in the beginning of the season as opposed in the middle and the end of the season.
So you heard what he had to say. Look, John Salley seems cool. He's funny. He's a New Yorker. I ain't got no issues with him. But to quote the great Stephen A. Smith, I can't even believe I said that. John Salley must be on drugs. Because I don't know what else, I don't know what sober-minded person would say that LeBron is a top 5 Laker. Like, the players he listed: Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jerry West, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron. What? We're not saying the best players that ever played for the Lakers. That's not what we're saying. We're saying the greatest Lakers in terms of their impact on the Lakers franchise. To say LeBron is a top 5 Laker is laughable. And it's the highest level of trolling. In no universe, LeBron is considered a better Laker than Jerry West. There is none. There is absolutely no universe. I'm not even going to put LeBron and Kobe in the same sentence as Lakers. That I will not even waste a second of my time doing. No one is going to argue Magic Johnson with LeBron. Nobody's going to do that. But you got LeBron over Shaq? Well, what did Shaq do while he was a Laker? All Shaq did was win 3 Finals MVPs, make multiple All-NBA teams, win 3 championships in a row, and win a regular season MVP. That's all Shaq did. That's all he did. and I think went to the championship round 4 times with the Lakers. That's all he did. So I'm trying to figure out, what has LeBron done to warrant him being ranked over Shaq in John Salley's mind as an all-time? What is the thing that he's done? He won a championship in a bubble against a depleted, sorry-ass Miami Heat team, where I think the leading scorer was Goran Dragic on that team. Then what else? The NBA Cup? What else? What else? The rest of the years, missed the playoffs 2 times and the play-in. What else? Got knocked out of the first round 2 years in a row and then made it to the conference finals. And that is enough to have LeBron as a top 5 Laker? Are you even see, this is what's annoying about LeBron, guys. This is what is annoying about LeBron James supporters. You guys are so annoying. Why am I saying this? It's not enough for you guys to give this guy his flowers. It's not enough. You guys got to go take flowers out of other people's hands to go give it to him too. This is the problem. It's not enough to say, oh, LeBron did this, he did that, did that. No problem. No problem. Give him his just due. But the problem is you guys now try to go overboard and start giving him credit that he doesn't deserve. If we're talking about the greatest Lakers, I'm not ranking LeBron ahead of Pau. Pau Gasol had a bigger impact on the Lakers franchise to winning than LeBron James did. It's a fact. It is a fact. There's no disputing that. Laker fans know that. The only people that will argue with the point I just made are LeBron fans, LeBron James, who are not Laker fans. As you can see, these guys are hoping and wishing that the Lakers lose every single night. Pau Gasol made more of an impact to the Lakers franchise than LeBron. Derek Fisher had more of an impact to the Lakers franchise than LeBron. Helped bring 5 rings and went to 7 championship appearances. Is it 7? 1, 2, 3, 4. 7. Yes. 7. That's Derek Fisher. Some people will put Worthy over LeBron. What about Wilt Chamberlain? I don't know why these guys. Well, this is the way, man. When you an NBA player and you want to make a name for yourself in NBA media, you want to get yourself a podcast deal, just go out here and start saying this kind of stuff. We know the game, bro. We know the game, bro. We know the game. Like, come on, man. Like, if you say LeBron is a great Laker, no problem. But to say he's a top 5 Laker is laughable. Top 10, yes, probably. But top 5? Come on, you can't be serious. You can't be. To even say he's top 5 would suggest that he did something comparable to what Magic or Kobe, and that's not reality whatsoever. Is he going to get his jersey retired as a Laker? I think so. But to say he's a top 5 Laker is trolling. So it looks like we got some issues with the Charleses here, man. As you guys know, Charles Oakley just did an interview with the Art of Dialogue podcast, right? Very big show. I think he's almost at 1 million subscribers there. And during this sit down, they spoke about Dennis Rodman, Stephen A. Smith, some other issues. But one of the ones that really stood out to me was the episode where he was talking about Isaiah Thomas, but was the recent episode where he was talking about a very serious confrontation he had with Charles Barkley. Now, if you know anything about Charles and Oakley, these guys don't like each other. Charles Barkley doesn't like Charles Oakley, and he feels the exact same way. These guys are not friends with one another. And we've always heard rumors of their altercations and all of that. And I've pulled up videos of them kind of going back and forth with each other in NBA games. And from the footage that I've seen, at least in NBA games, I never saw Charles running away or nothing like that. Now, I think Oakley's a bigger guy. I think Charles was 6'6" or something like that, but he's a pretty stocky guy. And I heard Charles is a very, very strong guy. Like, he has a lot of natural strength. He doesn't have like that, this muscle strength. He's actually has like a lot of God-given strength. Another guy who didn't have muscles all over the place, but I heard he was very, very strong, was Carmelo and a few other guys that have just been wilders. I mean, just some guys just have natural, they're very strong people. So anyway, in the altercations I've seen him on the court, Charles never looked like he backed down from Oakley. At least I never saw it. Well, during this interview, the interviewer asked him, hey, I heard you had an issue with Charles Barkley where you physically hit him. And Charles Oakley basically goes on to describe a moment where he met Charles Barkley at the NBA lockout and he viciously slapped him. So for those of y'all who never heard this story in this detail, I want to play it for you now, and I'm going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Charles Oakley had to say here.
Yeah, they both in their own lane. How you feel about the people that criticize LeBron for joining the super team?
I don't get into that. When you go to the bank don't change because other people decide to go to Wells Fargo or Chase. If you got it's opinion. People gonna have opinion. I mean, they allow you to do that. You know, back in our era, you weren't allowed to move around. The money that make you move around. Maybe you could get somewhere else. You can stay home unless you're just mad at the team you own. I don't look at it like that. You know, so they gave freedom to other guys. You know, they always want to talk down on that, commentators and other people. But you look at Barkley, he said these, you know, everybody teamed up. He teamed up with Akeem and Scottie Pippen in Houston. And he always talking about somebody teaming up. You know what I'm saying? These guys just some hypocrite on TV. I mean, these guys, they commentating, they're not talking, they're not educating the people about the game because, you know, IQ, okay, some people have, even though you're good, don't mean you got IQ. You can just be good because you get the ball a lot. IQ is not, I think it's overrated.
Yeah, that's a real good point you made about Barkley. He did join that Rockets team with Hakeem and Pippen trying to get a ring. Good point.
But he just be talking. Anybody, if you listen to him, you might have something wrong. Something must be wrong with you because everybody think it's opinionated, it's so good, this, and he ain't saying nothing. Clowning, you know, that's, you know, like TNT and them guys, I mean, they do more clowning around than they do more really telling people about the game. It seems like they trying to throw you off because the game made the game no more. We know this, but at least y'all got people want to tune in. You know, they be doing more acting and stunts they do in Hollywood sometimes.
I heard you slapped Charles Barkley.
Yeah. Yeah, I told him he had said something, and I said next time I see him, and it was at the NBA lockout. I walked in, I saw him. I didn't speak to nobody. I just saw him. And went over there, did what I did, and had my seat. You know, I guess my man Chris Mill, Mason, and DC, somebody was there, I told him, you know, before, you know, somebody said he been mouthing all. It was a lot. They had a game in Atlantic City or something. I said, I'm going to see him somewhere. So next time I see him, I'm going to let him know. Keep my name out of his mouth. So that happened. I had my seat and waited for the meeting to start.
What was his reaction? He just let you slap him?
I mean, I just smacked him and had a seat. I ain't, you know, he ain't come near me no more after that.
I always thought that he was like a tough guy because of all the fights he got into during games.
No, he wasn't that guy back then. He got in a fight with Lambeer, and that was it. Him and Shaq played around, but no, he wasn't doing nothing like that on the court because somebody, like I said, somebody would put their hands on him, and he knew that. He can do it now because he can talk stuff now because the younger guys in the league don't care. They're making 20, 30, 40,000. You think they care what he say? You know.
So his whole tough guy image was fake.
Yes. It was it was a lot of guys had that same facade back in the 90s. You know. But if you played back then, you know who was gonna do something, he wasn't gonna do nothing. But he had talent though, I give him that. He could play.
So when you smacked him, was it a whole palm? Did your whole hand connect?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He felt it. He probably still feeling it. This thing is, now he want to say, I don't talk to guys wasn't all-star. No, he tried to say, well, I don't talk to guys wasn't this and that. I don't mind. You don't have to talk to me. But you better not say nothing about me. You know, so he on that Judge Mathis list. Judge Mathis on his list, talking shit and let it get back to me. So I told him TNT, they can talk their mess on that and play around, joke with these younger guys. Like I said, they really, like I said, when you played with him, you know him. He wasn't gonna bust a grape.
So you heard what he had to say. What are my thoughts about this? Well, first of all, I wasn't there. All right? I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened. The interviewer did a good job asking him. So you went up to him, you slapped him, and that was it? Nothing happened? And he said he slapped him and he went and sat back down. Now, that part I don't believe. I'm not saying he's a liar, I just don't believe it. Why? Because I've seen Charles get into it with guys bigger than him. I saw him get into it with Shaq. He didn't run. Did you see him run anywhere? Shaq is more physically imposing than Charles Oakley. He's more physically imposing. He's a heavier guy, bigger guy. I'm sure stronger guy, probably. I don't know. And Charles went toe-to-toe with him, and he ain't, Shaq swung on him, but Charles fought. He didn't run. So I find it so hard to believe that they're in a locker room or somewhere and Oakley sees Charles. He walks up to him, slaps him, then turns around and goes and sits down and nothing happened. I don't believe that. I'm not saying Charles Oakley is a liar, but I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. If it was somebody else, probably. But I didn't seen Charles fight. I didn't seen him stand up for himself. So for me to just hear a story like this, I'm not saying he lying, but I definitely believe that there's more to that story. And the part that still stood out to me was the other part in the interview when they were talking about Isaiah Thomas. Now, Isaiah Thomas is smaller than all of these guys. But Charles Oakley then reveals a story of when Isaiah Thomas ran down on him in an airport. And he was following him all over the place. Like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? And I'm like, so if you're not willing to scrap with Isaiah, granted it's an airport, but you willing to slap Charles Barkley, it don't make sense to me. That story didn't make sense because he was like, he tried him one time, tried him a second time. If he tried him a third time, he's going to do something. I don't know, man. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't believe it. Right? I don't know. Or there's more to the story.